Hello everyone, welcome back. So we're in the final week for Hauntober. My gosh, where did the time go? You know what, that's a lie. I know exactly where the time went. I was pumping out reviews like crazy the last 2 weeks. I originally meant to have a upload schedule similar to this week's, where it was going to be about 3 books a week. And then I got sick, and then I found more books I wanted to do. So I really pushed the last couple weeks to get them all done, so that this week I could relax a little bit, because Kiddokin is going to have a Halloween party with other kids from Kiddokin's class. Nobody knows what's going on right now this year, so I was just like, we're just going to do a party and, you know, see how everything goes. So kiddo's looking forward to that, and to be honest, I am too. And other than that, I'm really kind of trying to be mindful and relax a little bit more this week, watching my Halloween movies and all that stuff, because I've really kind of pushed myself the last couple weeks with the 5-a-day upload schedule. So real quick before we get into the review, I want to give a shout out to what's her name, Rachel Maxey. She did what's called a Morbid History tour with Bernadette Banner and Morgan Donner, Boston True Crime. That's the actual title of the video. So Rachel Matsky and the other 2 ladies are women that dress in historical clothing. One dresses in a classic Victorian Edwardian era, and the other 2 ladies are more recent history, like 40s, 50s, 60s. But they were super fun, and apparently they were in Boston together doing something else, and they decided to do a haunted history tour based around Boston crime. So that was kind of fun. If you want to go and see that or watch that for Hauntober, I think it was super fun, and it's kind of different. If I remember to, I will put the link down below so that you can watch it as well. So the story for this evening is, or this morning, depending on where you are, Stealing Candy by Krista Wolf. As you can tell from the cover, it is a reverse harem story, which, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that was a thing up until about a year ago. Just goes to show how in my box I stayed for a very long time. So our 4 main characters are Candy, Tristan, Soren, and Lucas. And this one is pretty basic, pretty easy story to get through, a little bit longer than I thought it would be. So Candy went to Sleepy Hollow with her friend. They came in from Texas to stay in Sleepy Hollow. They basically got a gig house sitting for somebody else, making sure that their bird gets fed, and that's what the gig was. They basically got to stay there for free. Just make sure you feed my bird. About 3 weeks into being here, her friend ditches her. So all these things they'd planned to do together, and all these fun things they were going to do, and she couldn't do them with her friend because her friend was gone. So the story actually starts off in October. So she's basically been here for 4 months, about 3.5 of those months by herself. And she's gotten, she's had odd jobs throughout the summer, and she is currently working for a catering group or a entertainment or events planning type group, because it's October. Oktoberfest. So the opening scene, she is working as a beer maid at a tent at Oktoberfest. And as one might assume, with copious amounts of alcohol, there are a lot of drunk guys who are hitting on her, and she's kind of getting tired of it. At one point, there are a bunch of guys who are dressed as pirates. I'm assuming it was like a costume party deal. But so 3 guys dressed as pirates were hitting on her, and 3 guys dressed as Vikings came to her rescue. And I guess you know who the heroes of the story are going to be. The 3 Viking guys. So they all ask her for her phone number, and she really doesn't want to hurt any of their feelings. She doesn't want to cause a rift in their friendship. Although what she does, I'm not sure how it wouldn't cause a rift in a friendship, but it worked out. She wrote her phone number and tore it into 3 pieces and gave each guy a piece and said, well, I'll leave it up to you guys to decide who gets to take me out. And to me, I'm kind of like, you could just say no. I mean, if you're really that worried about not hurting one of the guy's feelings over another, you could just say no. But what do I know? So the three guys all end up calling her, and they kind of have like a group date, and I guess the thought was that as she got to know them, she would pick who she would want to actually date. But it doesn't work out that way, and before long, the four of them are in a relationship together. The guys, we find out, own an inn, and they're currently restoring it while trying to get the business up and running, because, you know, business loans are not cheap, and so you have to have money coming in as it's going out, otherwise you go bankrupt very, very quickly. And then there's like a side story where Candy's supervisor, not her boss per se, but her supervisor at the event group, she's the ex of one of the guys, and when it comes to her attention that Candy is dating him and the other two guys, she is not terribly happy about it, and she starts being really kind of insufferable to Candy. She's just being a total cold-hearted B-word, if you ask me. And at any point, if Candy had gone to their actual boss and said, hey, she's got a personal issue with me and she's bringing it to work and it needs to stop, I think she would have been totally within her rights to do that, but she didn't. And eventually it culminates with her quitting. Like on the busiest day of the year for this company, so, which put her supervisor in a bad light, so I guess it works out. Candy has basically proven herself totally invaluable to the guys. When she saw the inn, she was telling them, you know, why don't you utilize the space you have? You could do a fall festival, you could do this, you could do that. Because she's worked in hospitality for years and years, you know, basically since college. So she knows the different types of events you could do here. They've all fallen in love with her. She's fallen in love with all of them. She's proven herself invaluable to them, so I guess we all know how this is going to end, if we're being honest. There is like a side story about like they were worried about money. They were getting like a final notice from the bank about their loan and a bunch of stuff, but that was introduced like 3/4 of the way into the story, if not later, and it was solved like 2 chapters later, so it wasn't even really an issue. It was just kind of a blip. I was surprised that this was like over 45 chapters long. But we had multiple steamy scenes that were actually multiple chapters. The first steamy scene was over 3 chapters long. So, in all fairness, it's not so much that the story was that long, so much as certain scenes were that long, you know? It was a good story. I don't know if you're familiar with some of the subgenres of like short stories with romance, but there's like short sweet romances, there's short steamy romances, and it kind of feels like somebody took the concept of a short sweet romance and a short steamy romance, married the two together, and forgot to cut out all the extra stuff that you don't really need, and kind of artificially inflated the reading time that way. It was a good story. I'm not saying it wasn't. It was very good. It was very relaxed. It was very easy to read. I got through with it in like a day, maybe just under a day, which I gotta say is exactly what I needed after having reread Immortal Hexes for review. If you haven't seen that review, I had to age restrict it because of the content. It was a rough thing to get through. It's a good story, but it was very rough to get through. So this was very much what I needed to kind of cope and get past it. I couldn't read anything for a couple days after rereading Immortal Hexes. So for Stealing Candy, I'm going to give this one a good solid 2.5. It's nothing earth-shattering. It's nothing to write home about. It's not the great American novel. It's not hugely enlightening. There's not some great epiphany in the story, but it's a good solid fun read. It's very relaxing. It's Very much the type of thing that I would read if I came home from a very rough day, you know, and just needed to relax and chill and just everybody leave me alone. I'm gonna sit in bed with my my throw blanket and a cup of hot chocolate or a glass of wine and just relax. You know, it's fun, it's relaxing, nothing super special, but fun. So, yeah, 2.5 out of 5. I hope the review was helpful. I doubt it was. It's not a whole lot to review, but that's okay. 2 more stories after this, and then we'll be starting on the next series in November, and that is going to be in countdown to the release of the next book in that series. So, look forward to seeing you all at the next review. You have a great day. Take care. I love y'all. Bye-bye.